everybody, I'm Susan Mulvihill. Welcome back to our vegetable garden. For today's video, I want to give you a bunch of great tips on some of the best garden tools to use. And I want to let you know ahead of time, I do not have an affiliate relationship with any of them, so I'm not trying to get anything back from this. I'm just trying to share with you what I think works the best. Now, chances are you've noticed my apron. It is brand spanking new. I just finished making it yesterday. I know that garden aprons are very handy to have. There are a lot of sources for them online, maybe at your local garden center. I saw this pattern on Etsy, so I got the pattern from them, and then I bought this fabric, and here we are. I like this design because it goes over the head. It doesn't have any ties in the back. My arms are nice and free, so there's nothing that restricts the movement. I figure when I need to plant a bunch of seeds, maybe I can use this pocket for the seeds that need to be planted, and then each time I've finished one, I put them in this pocket so I don't mix them up and keep having to dig through them. And I just think that it is a very handy tool to have on hand. Now I have to tell you that this next one is my favorite tool, and I have a really cool little add-on that Bill invented the other day, and so I want to share that with you as well. This is a kneeler bench. When you think about a day of gardening activities, or even a couple of hours, you're constantly getting down on the ground and back up again. And boy, that just wipes out my hips in nothing flat. So quite a few years ago, maybe 15 years or so, I learned about the kneeler bench, and I thought, wow, I'm going to give that a try. So I bought one, and I love it, and it is a game changer. So you use these handles here so that you can lower yourself down onto the kneeler and tend whatever it is. Maybe it's something at this height, but it works really well for different types of gardening activities. And then when you want to get up, all you have to do is stand up and use your arms to push yourself up. So it is much more comfortable than just using your hips and your arms maybe to get yourself back up. So that is the kneeler part. Here is the bench part. So you flip it over, and this height is great. So let me show you an example of that. I used it the other day to pick peas, and it was great because I'm on a level with what I need to harvest, and so it's just a very comfortable position to be in. This works great for certain kinds of tasks, such as deadheading, especially if you have a whole lot of it to do, or maybe you're doing something a little bit on the tedious side, like harvesting blueberries. And you know, you might not have much room, and this has such a little profile, it works great. So what was Bill's invention? Well, the other day I was whining about how hot it was. And you know, if I can be doing gardening tasks in the shade, I am a happy camper. But out in the sun, even with my sun hat on, I'm just miserable. So, as I mentioned that to him, he was saying, you know, we've got that old beach umbrella. What if I put some kind of an upright support so that you could slip the umbrella into it and be in the shade? And I thought, wow, that's worth a try. So I'll show you up close how this is set up. But check this out. Voila! This works slick. And not just when you're kneeling. And voila again. This has worked so great. And you know, if the sun is in the wrong spot, you just flip the seat around or the kneeler and you work it so that the shade is going in your favor. So I've still got the umbrella in here just so you can see it. But this is a scrap piece of 1-inch diameter black poly sprinkler pipe. And so Bill cut it to this length, and then he used 5 zip ties to secure it. You definitely want one up near the top because the weight of the umbrella could pull it forward a bit. And you definitely want one at the bottom because it can twist a little. So once you have enough support throughout it, it works great. Easy peasy. Now, whether you use this in the sitting position or in the kneeling position, I want to give you a couple little warnings. If it's real windy and you've got this on an uneven surface, it can topple over. And I would hate for you either to get hit by it or if it accidentally decapitated one of your plants. I would feel horrible. So keep in mind that you want to keep it on a level surface, whether you're kneeling or sitting, and you should be just fine. If it's a real windy day, that might be a problem. But once you're sitting on it or kneeling on it, it's not going to go anywhere. Now, you have probably noticed this before, but I have a mailbox in the garden. Think of the times where you're ready to work in your garden and you get out there and then it's like, oh, I forgot the pruners. Oh, I forgot a trowel, etc. And so you're running back and forth. Well, I've got all of the must-have stuff in here, and I'm going to go through the different types of tools so you can see what they are. But having a mailbox in your garden is such a simple thing, and it works great. Okay, first up is a trowel. They are awfully handy to have when you're wanting to plant some seedlings or other types of plants. These are Cobra head weeders. This is the full-size model, and here is a smaller version. They are hands down my favorite weeding tools. I will never use something else. It is so easy to get under the root system and to pull up those weeds. I also use it for weeding along edges, like where bricks are or boards. I actually use it for planting little seedlings, and I just love them. They are so well made. They're made in the US. I've had these for years, and they work fantastic. I think every gardener needs a dibber, which is also referred to as a dibble. Years ago, I found this one at Lee Valley Tools. I'm not sure if they still sell them, but it is super sturdy. And then I found this wooden one in an English garden shop, and I thought I have to have that. So what's great about them is they dig a cylindrical hole. So let's say you're transplanting some seedlings that you started in a little seedling flat. You can just push them down into the soil, make a cylindrical hole, and pop the seedling in. These are really handy to have. I'm hoping that you can find some online. Now, every gardener needs pruners, right? I heartily recommend Corona tools. They're extremely well made, but they're not hideously expensive. And they come with different types of grips and mechanisms to make it easier to make pruning cuts. So this is something you would use on small diameter branches. This one is made by Dram, and it's a great size for deadheading your flowers, maybe your roses, something that is more like green tissue that you're cutting through that cuts very easily. What I really like about the Dram tools is that the handles come in all different colors. So that way, if you set them down on the soil or in your lawn, if you get something that's a nice bright color, they will stand out and you will not lose them. But they're very well made, easy to use, and really invaluable. How about a slot screwdriver? This comes in handy for gently lifting seedlings out of seedling trays and pony packs. That way I'm not pulling them out by their stem, which is definitely a no-no. That's something that can crush the cells in the stems, and it makes it hard for them to transport water and nutrients throughout the plant. So I have a screwdriver out here that I use a lot. It's very handy. other indispensable garden tools are loppers and head shears. Now with the head shears, this is something where obviously you could use them to trim a hedge. You could also use it to cut grass that's along the edge of something, and these work really great. For loppers, these are for pruning larger diameter branches, but not huge ones where you might need a saw. And what I really like about these Fiskars ones is that they are telescoping, so you can make the handles longer in case you can't quite reach a branch. Okay, no laughing at my pink hammer. I'll tell you the story behind it in just a moment. But think about how we're always hammering in stakes, right? So a hammer is a very handy tool to have. The story behind it is that a friend and I were invited to be speakers at a garden club meeting. And what we were doing during the meeting was talking about raised beds and how great they are, and we actually assembled a raised bed right during our talk. What the garden club did as a gift for each of us is they presented us with pink hammers that actually had a little bit of black lace on them. So when I got home, I took off the black lace, but of course I've kept it pink. And this way, we know it's my hammer and Bill isn't going to go off with it. So I keep it in the mailbox, and every now and then I need to use it. We gardeners also use twine a lot, right? Well, in the old days, I used to buy small balls of twine, but as you can see, I have graduated to the whopper size, and this works great. One of the things I like about using twine is that it is biodegradable rather than using a nylon type of a twine or a plastic type of a twine that are going to take a very long time to degrade. But this is the big size and I use it quite a lot. And if you're doing weeding, you're going to need something to put them in, right? Well, these are tub trugs, and they are so handy. They come in all different sizes and different colors because, you know, it's important to have the aesthetics in the garden, right? But they are not very expensive, they last a long time, and they are very handy. Okay, those are the tools that I recommend and use all the time. Thanks so much for watching today, everybody. I hope this was interesting and helpful. I'll see you next week. Happy gardening.